Hey everyone, I'm Ultima456, you're the Ultimates, and welcome to episode 90 of Let's Platinum Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair. Unfortunately, they failed to secure that alibi.
Because I was in the lounge.
So the killer couldn't go back to their room, and ended up hearing the lounge's alarm.
Hey, what are you doing? This raucous. It's louder than the supreme ruler of the netherworld bellowing for a sacrifice. Don't go making all that noise so suddenly.
But why'd you come out? You should have hid till the excitement died down.
If Gundam tried to hide, and if those two went to his room to check on him, he would have been found out.
But couldn't he have pretended to be sleeping?
That would have been the worst possible outcome. That's why he couldn't just stay hidden.
If those two had just checked the deluxe rooms as planned, that would have been ideal, but how ironic. The moment Fuyuhiko set foot in the lounge, your plan was doomed.
Gundam? Please, can you at least say something?
Answer me this. Including myself in my 4 dark devas of destruction, how many ears do we possess?
Huh?
The answer is 10. That's right, I possess 10 ears. That means I have 5 times the hearing of a normal human. The soundproof system here may as well not exist.
Is that your argument? You bastard! Do you understand the situation you're in right now?
Do not panic. The truth shall now commence. At the time, I left my room to go to the bathroom. By coincidence, I heard the alarm. That's right. That's all it was. The world is always so simple.
Are you saying it was just a coincidence? Isn't that timing a little too perfect?
And yet, I'm being suspected by all of you. It seems it was actually horrible timing on my part.
I see. You're still holding out. Well, you don't have to admit it. We're going to decide who the killer is with the majority vote anyway. So, why don't we just go ahead and start voting? It's obvious that Gundam is the killer.
Hold on a sec.
You know, Hajime, this class trial, this killing, it's merely the opening act, you know.
Hey! What do you mean the class trial is just the opening act?
Perhaps I should say, it's just a farce. Just a boring farce. So boring, so stressful. I'm so painfully bored that I might develop stomach ulcers. Seriously, let's just hurry up and finish this before I collapse from poor health.
Nagito, something definitely happened to you, didn't it? At some point during the investigation, your behavior became even weirder. What actually happened? Did you discover something?
Well, let's just leave that fun for later. And finish this opening act already.
Ah, you said opening act again!
Please hold on! We have yet to hear Gundam's rebuttal!
But he's completely shut up. Perhaps he can't argue anymore.
Gundam!
I was simply at a loss for words after being dumbfounded by your pathetic assumption. In fact, I shall deny the very basis. Your assumption has been wrong since the beginning.
Since the beginning?
Based on your assumption, I hung Nekomaru from the 4th floor of the tower and made the floor descend to the 1st floor. From there, after returning to Strawberry House, I was present when the alarm at the lounge went off, correct? Although going to and fro is busy enough as it is, how would I be able to travel between both houses anyway?
I see. The contact elevator was broken.
As I recall, the killer tampered with the Grape House control panel, which shut down the elevator. Plus, the stopped elevator should have been facing the Grape House side. If so, the human who used the elevator would have left it at Grape House. For these reasons, it's an indisputable fact that the killer destroyed the elevator at Grape House.
And what's wrong with that?
If the elevator was broken at Grape House, you wouldn't be able to return to Strawberry House.
However, I was already at Strawberry House. I was present when the alarm in the lounge started ringing. Which means your assumption is clearly wrong.
Are you serious? And here I thought it's already been decided.
Have you learned your lesson, pitiful humans? You cannot overcome this contradiction.
That's wrong. When something is obviously wrong, that's when a contradiction is born. There's no such thing as a contradiction that can't be overcome. Alright, Gundam. This is it. Let's do this.
That elevator was the only means of travel between the two houses. As long as that elevator was broken, your assumption collapses.
Plus, the elevator was broken at Grape House.
If the killer cannot return to Strawberry House...
Since I was at Strawberry House at that time, there's no question that the following crime is impossible.
It would have been different if they had an accomplice.
Or if there was a secret passageway.
How much longer do you plan to lecture me?
Missed.
Why don't we stop this already?
A contradiction is when something is obviously wrong. There's no contradiction I can't shoot through. I'm going to find out what that is. For the sake of everyone's hope, I'll shoot through that contradiction.
That elevator,
Alright.
the only means of travel between the two. As long as
That's
that
a lie,
elevator, your
Gundam.
assumption collapses.
Plus,
prove
the
it.
elevator broken at Grape House.
If the killer cannot return to
Since I was at there's no question that the following crime is impossible.
It would have been different if they had an accomplice.
Or if there was a secret passageway.
Thanks, Akane.
How much longer do you plan? Why don't we stop this already?
Sorry, Gundam.
That elevator was the only means of travel between.
That's wrong.
No, that's wrong!
There was a secret passageway. And we all know what it was.
No, there should have been another way to move between the two houses without the elevator.
Such a method does not exist.
Then why don't we ask the person who actually used that method?
Alright, one more time. The only other person who used that was Nagito.
You're the only one! Nagito, you should know.
Huh? What are you talking about?
Don't play dumb. You appeared so suddenly that one time because you used that method, right?
Nagito? Why are you here? Because I showed up.
There's a secret passage connecting the first floor of Strawberry House to the third floor of Grape House. Isn't that right?
Jeez. Once again, I let the reserve course show off. But you're right. There's a door on the floor of the Octagon, which is on the first floor of Strawberry House. After I opened the door and went down, surprise, surprise! I ended up in the Monokuma Archive, which is on the third floor of Grape House.
Meaning, the third floor and the fourth floor are actually connected.
Plus, once you've cleared the final dead room once, you can pass through it as many times as you want.
If they used that secret passage, they could have gone between the two houses as much as they wanted.
Infinity Unlimited Flame!
Hey, what's the name of your skill?
However, what if the killer was unaware of the existence of the final dead room?
There's no way they didn't know.
That is merely an illusion you have fabricated from your own suspicion. If you value your life, you should stop with your scrutiny.
There's no way I can stop.
What did you say? Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Nice Hulk reference. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. Alright. What else can we show?
Even if the turbid box doesn't exist, we could travel through multiple planes. provided you use a spacious wormhole. However, how frail, I say! Your decayed illusion. Shall I feed you to the progeny of vile deities?
That's a tough one, actually. His argument is exhausting. Just listening to him makes me tired. I need to skillfully cut back against his words so he doesn't outpace me.
Even if the turbid box doesn't exist, you could travel through multiple planes.
It's really hard.
Provided you use a spacious wormhole. However, how frail, I say! Your decayed illusion. Shall I feed you to the progeny of vile deities?
Did I get it?
I can't back down!
Okay, nice. Yeah, I don't really know what you're supposed to do for that one, but you're supposed to just keep cutting, I guess.
I already proved a secret passage exists. The secret passage was at the Octagon.
Know the limits of your own reasoning! You say the killer went to the Octagon? Don't bark, you cur!
Cur.
You don't at least pray to the key which dwells in the light!
He probably means try providing the evidence that the killer went to the Octagon, right? If that's the case, I should have it too. Key which dwells in the light. That will break through the darkness.
Know the limits of your own reasoning! You say the killer went to the Octagon? Don't bark, you cur! If you don't want to drown in the maelstrom of blind confusion.
Allow me to cut through those words!
That's a really tricky one, but you gotta use the wire on the maelstrom of blind confusion.
The wire used to string up Nekomaru's body. The hammer that looked like the weapon, and the chain on the door in the tower. Those are all the items that weren't in Funhouse. Where did the killer obtain them?
In Funhouse, not the Funhouse.
The only place I can think of is the Octagon. There were various weapons and tools there. I'm pretty sure I saw stuff like wires, hammers, and chains too.
Since those items were used in the crime, there's no doubt that the killer went to the Octagon.
If that's the case, they obviously know about the secret passage too, right?
It seems this is the end. Normally we'd end up listening to Hajime lecture us with a very long summary of the case. But there's no reason to waste any more time on this opening act, so I'm going to end this right now.
Hey, what are you...
First of all, by messing with all the clocks in the building, Gundam tried to lure only Nekomaru. The elevator was probably broken by that point.
Okay,
Thanks
it's
to that,
auto-advancing.
Nekomaru wasn't able to go to Grape Tower, which was supposed to be the meetup point. So he tried going over to Strawberry Tower, just like we did when we found out the elevator was broken. Well, it's obvious he'd attempt that. At that time, we didn't know the two towers were the exact same place. Also, the button in Strawberry Hall wasn't broken, so he was easily able to enter Strawberry Tower. But surprise! Gundam was waiting for Nekomaru's arrival.
Hold on. If Nekomaru didn't go to Strawberry Tower, what would the killer have done then?
Their plan was a balancing act of uncertainties. But even if they failed, they probably wouldn't have minded. They can just greet everyone the next morning as if nothing happened, and come up with a different plan.
And, without such a risky plan, they wouldn't have been able to lure him at all.
I'm going to continue summarizing the case, okay? Through this, Gundam successfully lured Nekomaru to Strawberry Tower. There's no way he could fight head-on with the robotic Nekomaru, so by pressing the goodnight button, he rendered Nekomaru powerless without fighting him.
Hold on! You... What did you just say? That I didn't battle?
What's wrong with that?
Don't mess with me! Don't mess with me! I cannot ignore those words!
Why are you angry all of a sudden?
You fools do not understand! You don't understand at all! Ha! You make me laugh! After all this time, you still don't understand anything at all!
I don't understand anything. What does that mean?
It appears I cannot finish just yet. Maybe I'm just a human destined for hell. However, I cannot finish just yet. I cannot finish!
What do you intend to do?
It's obvious! I'm going to destroy your illusory assumptions!
Are you saying you still have more? You still have room to argue?
Your words. You said I pressed Nekomaru's goodnight button. However, that button was on the back of Nekomaru's neck. To press it, I'd have to get behind him.
It's not easy to get the drop on Coach Nekomaru.
It's even more difficult if it's a one-on-one situation.
Just as I thought. Truly frail. Succumbing so easily to this simple argument. It was just a mere illusion. If you want to set me up as the killer, at least surpass your own human limitations.
That's wrong, Gundam. You're the one who's wrong.
Such a wonderful line. However, I cannot say that I'm satisfied. Listen well. I shall teach you 2 tips for making someone admit their defeat. First, you must crush them with your own overwhelming power. And as for the other, you must provide a reason that will persuade that human. You have not fulfilled either of those yet.
I guess you really don't want to admit it. Then, just as you requested, I will provide an argument that will leave you no choice but to be persuaded. Alright, this is actually probably my favorite Panic Talk action, because it's so clever the way they did this.
I won't let you!
So let's just do
For
this.
the Tanaka Empire!
Combo.
Crush as
Combo.
David prophesies! I won't let you! For the Tanaka Empire! Wither! Crushed as David prophesied! Show me the cadaver!
Amen. Show me the cadaver.
I won't let you!
Oh, I should probably do
For the
this.
Tanaka Empire! Wither!
I keep forgetting that because I
Crushed as
have the
David
abilities. This
prophesied!
is
I
easy.
won't let you! For the Tanaka Empire!
Probably use negative time instead.
Crushed as David prophesied!
Got 4 shields left.
For the Tanaka Empire!
3, negative time.
I won't let you! For the Tanaka Empire!
2, and
Crushed as
get
David
ready.
prophesies! I won't let you! It's Nekomaru's back. Do you really think I can get behind him so easily?
This is the end!
The 4 Dark Davas! Oh man, this this is the best one, man. This is the best.
Even if you didn't get behind Nekomaru, you should have been able to press the button on the back of his neck. As long as you had the power of the hamsters you keep with you.
Oh?
Are you seriously saying he used his hamsters to press the button on the back of Nekomaru's neck?
Of course, that'd be impossible for a normal hamster, but it would have been possible for Gundams. In fact, we saw that with our very own eyes, right?
Mm-hmm. They showed you. Emissary of evil, in accordance with our ancient contract, the time has come to lend me your aid. Pierce through Supernova Silver Fox Sandy. Choo-choo! Click. And it presses the button. Huh, it pressed the button. Truly, this is the Skyline Lamentation, art of the Demon Mouse. Soon the door of destiny shall open.
Now that you mention it, after Ibuki was killed in the music venue, one of Gundam's hamsters retrieved the piece of wallpaper from the baton lighting, right? Hey, with your friends and their exceptionally smart brains, it must have been possible to secretly get one of them behind Nekomaru and press the button on the back of his neck.
How about it, Gundam?
Not just myself, but you actually brought up how splendid my subordinates are. I have no recourse but to admit it.
Admit it? Did you say you admit it?
It appears I've obtained a one-way ticket to hell. Fine! Then you must trample me underfoot and advance. Victory can only be built upon a foundation of corpses. You cannot find peace without sacrifice anywhere. Now, trample this life. Trample it as though it were mere trash on the side of the road. Pull the curtain strings of this worthless performance with your own 2 hands.
It's closing argument time. Oh man, I didn't... Can I pause this? Probably not. Let's see. Oh, I can pause this. Okay, in that case I'm going to pause it here and continue next time. Alright, yeah, that was pretty awesome. One thing that I'll add just before we finish up here is that I don't think they explain it, and I'm going to be really annoyed if they do in the next episode, but I'm pretty sure they don't. Anything doesn't really make sense. It's like, how... Like, did Nekomaru's... Oh, okay. Hang on. I'm thinking about it. Alright, no. Because the only thing I could think of is, like, Nekomaru's goodnight button was on the back of his neck. And you can actually see the image there. It's the 4th one at the very bottom to the left of Fuyuhiko. There's, like, a compartment door that the hamster had to open. And it's literally showing that. I was going to say, because there's... After they show Nekomaru's like crushed body, like, you know, from falling and all that, the panel is broken. It's like split in half. And I was like, but how did the hamster get like through the panel, you know what I mean? But I guess, yeah, he's smart enough to open it. So yeah, that was awesome. All right, so we're almost through this trial, but stick around because the trials, well, especially since pretty much all of them end in unexpected ways, and this one is no different. So for now, though, I want to thank you all for watching episode 90 of Let's Platinum Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair. My name is Ultima456, you're the Ultimates, and I'll see you next time.